According to the children's nursery rhyme, the wheels on the bus go round and round. But here in Montgomery County, the wheels on the bus have ground to a halt because, according to a new report from the Montgomery County Council Audit Committee, it questioned the procedures and policies that were in place in the school system as it purchased $160 million of electric school buses that have yet to be delivered, and the manufacturer is racking up penalties in every single day. Mark, the situation has become so bad that MCPS was forced to buy 90 diesel power, those dirty diesel powered engines, and those buses when the vendor Highland Electric fleets failed to deliver. So what's going on here?
Well, I get to do a little I told you so. I wrote about this in Red, Maryland 3 years ago in a piece about has MCPS bought actual buses, spent $160 million. The back end is a little convoluted, the corporate history on this, but these were Proterra buses. Proterra at the time was having huge problems. The batteries were failing in multiple cases. And so we really had plenty of information to know that the buses were not going to be able to work as advertised. Proterra's gone bankrupt. There's been a shift around. There's kind of different companies coming in. This is an example of a more aspirational technology. It's just not there yet. And spending $160 million on basically speculation that the buses might work was really a bad idea. It was a bad idea then, and it frankly continues to be.
So, Mike, I was encouraged that the council, did issue this report. I mean, they have little supervision over how MCPS wastes their money. But is there anybody going to be accountable for this waste of taxpayer dollars?
Well, that's always an interesting challenge. Even when I was on the council, there were a number of challenges where we saw contracts that weren't fulfilled. And, from the council side, unfortunately, we wouldn't have we have oversight, but we didn't have control. And so you would end up having negotiations back and forth between the county and the contractors or the vendors. And from my perspective, always got to less than what I thought to be fruitful outcomes. And from going back and watching and reading some of the transcript that took place with the county council and MCPS, it sounded to be going down a similar road. The good thing is, I think all that I've seen so far from the new superintendent is that he is engaging. He's really trying to identify those areas to pay attention to and where to put focus. This is something that predated him. Even the report and the study that was done took place early in the summer, just before he was even brought on board. And so I am hopeful that he is going to, once he prioritizes how we're focusing on our students, is really kind of come in and begin to address some of these other issues, because effectively we've been kind of managing in a leaderless capacity for a while. And ultimately, I agree with Mark. I think we're trying to do with the schools, and I think what the county's trying to do, even with its own bus fleet, with electric buses, is still somewhat aspirational. And some of the work I've heard from in other parts of business that I do, that we're trying to do things on a scale that most other communities aren't there, and that the EV fleets it's difficult to do anything on that scale and to manage it. And we're on the front edge of that. And so we're going to have quite a few hiccups if we want to lead that charge.
Well, certainly the MCPS has been under attack for the last several years for its lack of transparency and its decision-making process. And this is, a prima facie example of bad decision-making. Command and control doesn't always work in business, and trying to force a solution before to a problem that is in the distant future isn't always attainable.